All right, hello. I want to welcome everybody. My name is Chuck Williams, and we're going to be doing a short workshop today. I'm thinking 20, 30 minutes at the most. And the topic of this workshop is building and developing your story. And it is so important that you understand the format to tell your story. Now, if you use the company's 90-day action plan, they have a very good outline on how to develop and tell your story. And you're welcome to use it. Now, you basically got two stories here. One story is for the opportunity, and one story is for the product. And you can mix them together. Personally, I like to keep the two separate, but you can mix them together. I also like to lead with the opportunity. If the person's not interested in the opportunity, I can always drop back to the product. However, I have found that if you lead with the product and they're not interested in the product, it's kind of silly to say, well, hey, would you like to promote it if they're not even interested in the product? So I tend to always lead with the opportunity. You can always fall back to the product. So here are the basics. When you're doing your 60 to 90 second story, in fact, one of the main things I wanted to get out of the whole training last week in Arizona, probably the number one thing I wanted to get was to bring back to my team, when you're talking to somebody and you ask, what do you do? And they tell you, oh, I'm an accountant, or I'm a minister, or whatever they are. And then they say, well, what do you do? I wanted to know the right answer. Now, I know there's no right or wrong answer, but Herb Cepeda, taught that when somebody says that, he says, I teach people how to lose body fat. And so I've been using that. I've had a marginal level of success with it, but not as much as I would like. So I was looking for the right answer, the best way to catch someone's attention. So when Eric Worre brought up this developing your personal story, it fit with what I was looking for, because he basically said, when somebody says, what do? You basically say, well, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you my story real quick. And bam, you're right into your story, and you get going from there. So with that being said, there are four major categories. I want you to write these down. Hopefully you're taking notes. Four major categories in your story. Number one is your background. Now, several of us have been involved in multiple network marketing companies. He suggests to keep it clean and don't mention the different network marketing companies you've been involved in. Just go right to your occupation before you got involved in network marketing. So in my case, my background is I was involved in management, corporate America. I ran other people's businesses for them. And I'll tell you more later, but that's kind of my background. Is I was a corporate executive. I ran other people's businesses for them. I was like a plant manager of several different industrial laundry companies. The second part is why I didn't like, what I didn't like about it. What I didn't like about it. Now, you don't have to bash your job. Like I got Kip and Sandra here. They love the ministry they're involved in. I loved my job at corporate America. I mean, if you'd ever asked me, I would have told you I love what I do, and I did. But it was the stress of that job that I didn't like. The fact that every year, it didn't matter what I did the year before that, there was no equity built up. If they thought they'd get somebody in there that could do it cheaper than me or better than me or a combination, they would have no problem at all replacing me. And as I got more mature in my corporate career, that happened to me 3 times, 2 of which were absolutely no fault of my own. I just got axed because I was a big target with a big salary. That and the fact that there was no residual income, those were my pain points in corporate America. Here I am trying to provide for a family. I'm the single, my wife stayed home with our children, which is a great occupation in and of itself, but it doesn't pay real good. And so I was the sole provider for our family. And to have that lack of security caused major stress in my life. And I didn't really realize it when I was in it, because I just assumed that everybody had it. But every Sunday afternoon, I would get this pit in my stomach, realizing, I had to go back in that environment on Monday morning. When I go on vacation, it would take me Monday and Tuesday to kind of wind down and relax and enjoy my family. Friday afternoon, I'd start getting that pit in my stomach, knowing I was going to go back to work that following Monday. So that was my pain point in my corporate career. And then I found the solution of network marketing. Now, my story may be a little different than all of yours at this point, but for me, network marketing was that solution. But I had to go through several companies to find the right company, because there's lots of opportunities out there in network marketing. But if you don't connect with the right opportunity, with the right timing, the right leadership, You can fail in network marketing just as easy as you can in corporate America. And I experienced that. I had several negative experiences in network marketing. I'd build businesses up and I'd see them fall apart right under me, mostly due companies falling apart and going out of business. And so that was a pain point. And then the solution. The third point in your story is your solution. So you talk about your pain point. That's step 2. And then the third step is the solution. My solution was Isogenics. I found a company that finally did it right. And having been with several companies that didn't do it right, I really was able to recognize the difference. Everything from the leadership of the company, they had the people in place that had the experience to build a multi-billion-dollar company. They had the products in place that absolutely worked. They worked for me. I was able to lose 25 pounds, keep it off, and now I'm building muscle to replace that fat that I lost. So the products absolutely work in many facets. And then you've got the right leadership and system. We're working with the number 1 income earners in the whole company in Herb and Patty Cepeda. And they got an entire system in place to help people be trained and do successful things in this business. And then timing. People on this call know better than anybody else. The timing with Isogenics is off the chart perfect. I mean, 15 years of solid history, building a foundation, and now they're just getting ready to really open up markets like Asia. We just opened up the UK this year, 2017. So the timing, in my opinion, could not be better with a company than it is with Isogenics. So that's number 3. That's the solution. And number 4 is very simply how you feel about the future. Me personally, I feel extremely excited about my future because for the first time in my life, not only am I going to be able to succeed and achieve the dreams that my wife and I have and secure that financial freedom without the stress of the corporate job I had, but I also, for the first time in my life, am seeing people on my team succeed and make money like I've never seen before. I'm extremely, extremely excited about the future, not just for my family, but for those I introduced to this incredible business. So I went a little longer than I normally would, but I kind of want to give you the 4 categories. So number 1, it's your background prior to Isogenics. Number 2 is whatever your pain point is about that background. So Kip and Sandy, it might be the fact that you love what you do. I know you do, but it doesn't provide a whole lot of resources or retirement income. So that might be your pain point. It might be that you don't control your calendar. You love what you do, but you'd love to be able to do other things more when you want to do it without having to ask for permission to do things. I don't know I'm not trying to tell you your story. You need to figure out what your pain point is. And I'm gonna give you that exercise right now. And then the third thing is, I found my solution to these problems, and you got to relate the solution back to the problems that you've identified. And then the fourth thing is how you feel about the future now that you've found your solution. How you feel about your future now that you've found your solution. So I want to do this 3 times, and I want to ask for a brave volunteer. Gabriel, not you, because you're over in the UK and you asked to just listen, so I'm going to honor that. But I need somebody else who's brave that will do this experiment with me. Kip and Sandy, are you brave today?
Sandy always is.
Kip says I'm brave.
All right, well, let's let Kip do it then.
Thanks, Chuck.
You're welcome, buddy.
Yeah.
So, Kip, I want you to give it a try, and those 4 categories, your background prior to network marketing, what you didn't like about that background, and you got to really, well, I'm not going to, that's it for now. And then a few, you found your solution to those problems, and how you feel about your future now that you've found those solutions. So give it your best stab. I mean, this is just practice. It's just training. And part of this training, I'm going to be able to help you learn a few more things as we go through this exercise. So, Kip, you want to try it?
Yeah, sure. I might pause in between those things, but anyway, I'm here off to the side if you want. Well, my background has been, I was a business owner many years ago, but I've also been a pastor for about 20 years now. And I think one of the things that's really hurt me, bothers me, and it creates passion for me is burying a lot of my friends who are suffering from health problems. Then on top of that, I have working in a church. It's the retirement is something that we have to work at it ourselves. And so we're in our 60s, and so we want to build that residual income so that we can have the retirement. and not have to worry about paycheck, not have to worry about what we are going to do from day to day. And we really found that. We believe in isogenics. It's been we're amazed at the potential of it. We've also taken the product ourselves, so we feel a lot healthier with that. Clearer mind, more energy, and it's really fantastic. Both my wife and I have just really thrived on the product itself, and we're really excited about the potential for it with income. And let's see, the future. I think the future is great. I just see the company growing. I see our business growing. And it's just one of those things that we're excited about. And we feel like we're helping people. We aren't just salespeople, but we're helping people in their health. And that's just a quest that we can really feel good about. And then that, a bonus, is health for ourselves. And I believe a healthy income in the future with that.
That's absolutely excellent for your first stab at that, Kip. Great job.
Thanks,
Would anyone else like to take a stab at those 4 points? Just sharing your story real quick. This is a leadership training here, so don't be shy.
Hey, Chuck, I have a question. This is Steve, and I just thought about this. Very long story short, my story has always been, my background was real estate finance, right? And I understood as, because I was a full-time single dad, I needed to find a way to replace that six-figure income, but from home so I could be available for my kids. And that was my story. It turned out that I replaced the income, I was available for my kids, and everything was great. My point is, that story is 25 years old. Since then, I've had a 10-year break, and I just realized as I was telling my story that might not necessarily be my story anymore, or would it?
Let me just tell you what I learned from Eric Worre, and this might remind you as you hear it. It doesn't matter if it's 20, 25 years ago. My corporate career was, 12 years ago myself. I've been in full-time network marketing over a decade now. But that's still the pain point. That's still what got me into this solution. It's still what other people can relate to. So I think you're perfectly okay going back to, your original story.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So story, it doesn't really matter if it's 25-year-old, 50-year-old. It matters if it resonates within yourself. I mean, it has to be truthful that it comes from your heart. Of course you have to practice and make sure that you're saying the right things, but you should also have to have a strong belief. This is my story. I've been telling the same story for the last few years because I've only been in business for the last few years. Is that, I've been a business person all my life, started my company when I was junior in college. I was very successful one time, but in business, you go up and down. Whenever I'm down, I get introduced to this network marketing company. And when I'm down, I don't have any money. I don't have any resources like I used to. So with nothing I have, this is the only thing I had. And I knew that there are enough success people that I see that if I really work hard, that I'll be able to get back to my feet. And with Isogenics, with the Asia opening, with the strong backing from the company, I feel like I have a home run. All I have to do is just be passionate and work really hard. Let's do it.
Excellent job.
That's kind of my story.
Excellent job. So let's go to the second phase of the training now. That was our first run at giving our story. And our story was basically the 4 segments: our background prior to network marketing, the pain point of that background, and then number 3 is the solution we found, and number 4 is how we feel about our future. This time, I want you to do, Kip, I'm going to start with you. I want you to give your same story, but I want you to go into more transparency about the pain point. I want you to be more vulnerable than guys are normally comfortable being. Ladies have better time at this than us guys do, but I want you to really emphasize the number 2, the pain point. I want you to go as deep as what would it mean if something were to happen to you and you didn't have that good retirement for Sandy and those you love. I want you to be vulnerable and try to be transparent about the pain point. Go a little deeper in that. help us feel your pain about the things you mentioned, okay?
Okay, so this would be in the
Number two.
number two.
Yeah, but same exact format. The only thing is this time I want you to really try to connect with us on number 2 at a deeper level. Get real with us and break down the mask and being cool like you are, and just transparently those pain points, what that really means to you.
Oh yeah, that part's not. It's not hard being honest about that stuff.
Can you move the camera over to where we can see you?
So I can't pick my nose or eat or anything in front of you guys now.
Prefer
right?
you don't.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, as I rub my nose here.
We all notice.
Okay, so here, hold that kind of towards me. So, so was the first part okay when I was just the last time, or should I show
The whole thing was okay. I just want you to this time do the same thing basically, but this time I just want you to focus on that pain point and connect with us a little deeper. Get real with us about why that's really a pain point.
And the people
Okay.
that are dying.
What?
I think the people that are dying.
Well, Sandy's telling me something. Okay. I'm really excited about what's going on in my life right now. As being a pastor, that's what I've been doing for probably 20 years. I was a business owner prior to that. And so I know the struggles and the pluses and the minuses in that. But being a pastor, I really have passion and compassion on people who are struggling with their health. And it really drives me. I do a lot of funerals, and I've done many funerals for friends of mine whose health has failed them, and because of poor nutrition. And so that's something that really started me thinking about it. And when I got introduced to Isogenics, I was stoked about it because not only can I help my friends, I feel, but I can help my wife and I. We're in our 60s now, and so we're more concerned about our health now really than ever, wanting to maintain that energy and our health and everything so that we could be around for many more years. The other thing too, I think with Isogenics, that another part why we researched that was because of being pastors, we have to build our own retirement. And it's nothing that it's not a built-in thing. There's not a long retirement plan like in a normal business, in a corporate business. And so I was concerned too because of needing to build that residual income. I need to be able to count on money coming in every month and have my bills paid off. And we really saw Isogenics as one way of doing that. We researched it, and we were really impressed with the system and the way it was, and the longevity of the company and the quality of the company. And it's true. I really want to. I want to make sure my wife's taken care of. And I'm a man of read the Bible all the time. And the Bible says the righteous man passes on an inheritance to his children. And that's what I want to do. I want to be able to not only pass on a good living to my wife, not have to worry about her so she can relax, do the things that she wants that are in her heart, but I also want something to go to my children as well. And we saw Isogenics as a vehicle to do that, truly do. So it's got that ongoing residual income, and I like that. And it really moved me to get more involved. The other thing too is, what is the other thing?
That's just how you feel about the future.
That was 2 and 3 combined, right? I think.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
And you said how you feel about the future.
Yeah, you did good. You're good.
Okay.
The only thing is, the only feedback I'm going to give you, that I'm going to open up for others to give feedback, because this is a learning time for all of us.
Yeah, I'm not. So, go ahead.
No. Whoever gave the example is going to be the same thing. So all of us, we all do it the same way. And so I give Kip some feedback on the first time and the second time. Did you relate better the second time? Was he transparent enough? Somebody give him some feedback, and I will too.
It's okay, guys. Be honest.
Frank Sue, what was your thought?
You put me on the spot.
Always.
Well, I mean, I felt very sincere, right? His statement was sincere, but it just needs to practice.
Uh-huh.
It needs to put together. You need to put that together so that you're flowing without interruption. Because people have a very short span of time they can take focus. So just you probably spent good 5 minutes talking about your story, right? I'll do that in like 2.5 minutes. Faster, and I think that would. I mean, you have really good points. but you need to condense it and just practice.
Mhm.
Great feedback. Great feedback.
Thank you. Thank you.
The thing I would say, Kip, is you did both. You did the product and the income in the same testimony. That's why I said you kind of want to keep them separate, because you get a little long when you try to do both. You know, with the friends dying and stuff, which I know you're passionate about. I've seen in your heart.
Yeah.
That's the product portion of it,
Right,
and then you also did the income part. So you just did both parts. You did both stories.
Okay.
You just want to realize that you probably want to keep those separate, so it doesn't get too long.
Okay. So what you wanted today was really just the income portion of it, the business portion of it. So
yeah,
okay,
more so.
So
but they're both good.
Yeah. So so in this instance, I have somebody that's interested in the business, and I would want to talk just more about the business and what drew me to it, and use those 4 points as the business. Right.
Actually, you're not going to know what the person's interested in when you're telling their story. When because these are people you don't know. So I'm teaching and recommending that you lead with the business always, because you can always fall back to the product.
Sure.
But you can't go the other way. If you lead with a product and they're not interested, there's no way you can. Let's talk about business. It just doesn't work. So,
yeah.
Anybody else have some quick feedback for Kip? Kip, do you have some?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, is there like a good one sentence lead in to this? You know, like somebody comes up and says, hey, so I see you here at the gym all the time. So, you know, what do you do? You're always here at the same time. And what do you do? Or, you know, some question like that.
Typically what you want to do is start a conversation with somebody. And then the polite thing for them to do after you've asked what they do is they ask you what you do.
Yeah.
And you say, Kip, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you my story. And bam, you're right into it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but you're keeping it short. That's why, like Huang Su said, you can't go 5 minutes. Or the person will be, my gosh, I can't believe I asked this guy how he's doing.
I'll avoid that guy every time now.
As a preacher, you're used to that. So it just, I'm just teasing you. I love you guys. But seriously, you want to 60 seconds, 90 seconds is about the max.
Okay.
But that's one of the key training points of this whole call is we got to practice.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to Versal Shaw yesterday, and we were just joking around. As a former professional basketball player, I'm saying, can you imagine your coach getting you together and say, okay, guys, we got a game today, and boom, go out and do something? Well, that's what we do in network marketing. We sign some up. We say, game time, go enroll 2 people.
Yeah.
We need to get in the habit of practicing this and telling your story. And every whole meeting we do, Kip and Sandy, we should practice telling our story to each other in the room.
Yes.
First of all, the guests, they're not going to know we're horrible at it at first.
Right.
Well, they might, but we'll just all we'll get better together, and it'll be genuine. So, all right, I want to do it one more time, and this will be the last time. But Kip, this time I want you to tell us your story. I want you to focus just on the business side, but I want you to skip steps 1 and 2, and I want you to just give us steps 3 and 4. So all I want you to tell me about is the solution you found and how you feel about your future.
Okay.
Okay.
So we've already said, oh, I'm glad you asked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're already kind of past that. So, okay.
You're going right into your story, though, but I just want you to skip 1 and 2, and I want you to go right to 3 and 4.
Right. Okay. The part I like best about what I do right now is the solution to it all. I'm able to make a residual income. I've researched the company. It's amazing. It's been around 15 years. The plan for making income is so solid, but the potential of the residual income is the part that really gets me excited, because I'm able to I'll be able to retire without any kind of worries, and at the same time be helping people. And it's not something that's just here today and gone tomorrow. This is something I believe in, so I know it's something I can do for a long time, and the company's going to be there to support me.
Good. How'd that feel?
Good, I think. Pretty good.
Okay. That's how I felt when I did too. But then I got to realize, everybody, how did you feel like he connected with you? Did he connect? Did you feel like he was selling you something? How do you feel? You guys are all too shy. You got to speak up.
You guys, I'm okay, guys. I take criticism. I get it from my son, for Pete's sake. So I can take it. So you guys are welcome to be honest.
No, it's all a training point here.
Yeah. You're welcome to be honest.
Go ahead, Kwang Soo.
I didn't want to talk because I'm doing the talking. But I'll talk. It's fine, and it's really hard to critique people on this kind of stuff, because it's different from one person to the other. Just make sure it's you, and also not so much to explain everything. Like, we've been here for 15 years. I don't even know if it's necessary, because if they've been there for a long time, and I feel pretty good about it. And then they ask you, how long has it been there? So just don't try to answer all those questions. It's like a statement should intrigue their curiosity so they can ask you more questions.
I see.
Try not to answer everything that in a short period of time.
Especially
show excitement. Yeah, show excitement, so that they are curious as to why you're so excited.
Okay, that makes sense, because I'm answering questions they didn't even ask yet.
Right. They may not be interested in 15 years. They may be interested that they something else. So just be excited, and answer questions if they have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
Of the 3 times he did it, which one resonated with you better? And it doesn't have to be Kwang Soo. Jasmine, I don't know if you heard all 3, but Diane. There's a couple of people I don't have names. Yeah, Steve.
I think it's almost kind of almost piggybacking off of what Kwang Soo was saying. It's almost premature and unfair to critique at this point. Here's why I think like that, because when I used to do this training with my team, the first thing we'd have to do is we'd have to write it out, literally script it out, and then we go over it 10, 15 times before we would present it. Now we have something to work with. Do you know what I mean? And in that, it was to be, 60, 75 seconds, 90 seconds. Now when they come, now we're actually critiquing something that, does that make sense?
It does. But let me tell you the purpose of the training. And this is the way Eric Worre did it. He did not give us a lot of time. In fact, we did not write it down. We did it just the way we just did it. And that's why I did it that way. Because he basically instructed us to go back and teach our team what he just taught us. Here's the purpose of it. I find myself going right to point 3 and 4 when I'm talking to people. I find myself not taking the time to really go into my background and the pain points in my background. I went right away to get into the solution. I found how great it is and how great we're going to do. And he had us do a poll of the 4 points, which one we thought was the most important. Is it, your background, relating to someone's background, or is it number 2, the pain points, number 3, the solution you found, and number 4, your vision for the future? And we all voted. And it was pretty mixed on who voted for what. And he said, guys, gals, number 2 is it. Number 2 is the most important thing you've got to have in your story. People don't care how successful you are. People don't care that you found the greatest thing since sliced bread, but people will relate to your pain point. And people will naturally, as a human being, want to help you when you're vulnerable and share your pain point. And the whole purpose of today's training that I got from Eric Worre is that as a man, I tend to hide that vulnerability and pain. And I kind of share it a little bit when I'm doing my presentations. I'll talk about my background and how the layoffs and the stress of that, but I don't really take the time to connect on that point. And so the whole purpose of that 3rd time you did it, Kip, was to show you that's how I, and that's how most people tell their story, is they get to the point that they forget about what they did before. They forget about the pain and why they were even open to a solution. That's what people relate to. So what Steve's saying is absolutely right. At this point, now that you've experienced the 4 points, what you do want to do is write it out and practice it. And then what we've got to get good at is practicing among each other. When we run into each other at church, just seriously, just tell your story real quick. And I tell you my story. You just get good to it. I've told my story more today than I have in a long time because I'm very, very focused on telling my story. What Eric Worre gave us as an exercise to do is tell our story 100 times in the next 30 days. And it might seem like a lot, but with the holidays, it's perfect. He said, you got all kinds of family members that really don't know your story. You think they know what you do because they're your family, but they really don't know your story. They don't know how you feel about it. They don't know what's going on. So he said, get your story down and practice it. And just tell people, I'm not trying to recruit you to my business. I've never taken the time to really tell you my story. And then take 90 seconds and get good at telling your story. Then
Yeah.
same thing, make sure all your friends hear your story. Most of them are not going to get in your business, so don't expect them to, but just do it as an exercise. And then it becomes a point where you're wanting to share. The whole goal is how many times you can share your story. And then that hopefully will create the connection. And then you have the opportunity to share the company story. So that concludes our workshop for today. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to go ahead and, does anybody have any questions or comments before I shut the recording off?
Chuck, it's been very helpful to me. Your training was a lot more advanced than mine, and I like the extra points you put, especially with the emphasis on the pain point. That really makes sense. And when I upgrade and rewrite my story, I'm going to make sure that I connect and lock that point in.
Well, Steve, I appreciate it. Let me give you an example because it just happened today. I've got two ladies in Chicago. They're putting on their first hotel meeting. They've promised to have 50 people in the room, so Diane and I are going to make the trip up to Chicago to do a meeting for them. And they were struggling getting people to RSVP and commit to come. And so they were asking me, what scripts should we use? So I immediately took them to besetfreelife.com and took them to the scripts and showed them that the scripts are right there. And as corny as they may seem, they've worked for the Cepeda, so I recommend using them. And so we tweaked them a little bit, but the main thing was I also taught them to tell their story. What did you do before this? What is the pain point? And once they identified with that, they're like, oh, and then as they're sharing their story, now people are going to want to help them alleviate their pain point. And so it gives them the opportunity to get people to commit to come to the meeting, basically to support them in the launch of their business. Whereas if all you're telling them is you found a solution, you're excited about it, it's easy for people to say no. But when you take the time to share your pain point, now those same family and friends, they want to help you. And they get, what can I do to help? Well, you may not want you may not want to join my business, but it would really help me if you showed up for my meeting because I am going to have some prospects there. And it sure looks good to have a full room of people. If you would be there to support me, I'd really appreciate it. And wow, they both lit up. It's like, oh, I can do that. So anyway, I think that helps even when it comes to getting people to a local venue event. So let me stop the recording. Hope this helped, and we'll be doing more recordings like this in the future.